I want to read what the Dragon Ball card community had to say about the 2-star Majin Vegeta. I will also talk about other cards that were revealed in the set, and also I want to talk about something really interesting that one of the card collectors brought up to me in my DMs on Instagram, and I really think is worth looking into. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull up my phone here, and I'm gonna go through some polls that I conducted on Instagram, and I also am gonna go through some of these comments, and I think they're hilarious. So I went ahead and actually did a poll on which one do you like better. Do you like the rare alt art or the SCR 2 stars? So as you can see, a lot of people really like that 1-star rare. I love this card a lot because in one of my previous videos, actually the last video that I posted, I talk about the ST01 predictions and what I thought the 2-star was going to look like and things like that. But I just thought it was interesting doing a poll on what people would like better. And so of course a lot of people did say that they did like the SCR 2-star better versus the rare alt art, but the amount of votes was actually interesting. So this poll actually went up for like maybe about an hour, and I had almost about 100 votes already. And I thought it was interesting that 39 people thought that the rare alt art was better or looked better versus the 2-star. I thought it was going to be a very small percentage. I mean, 40% is up there, so it's close to 50, but 60% did say that the SCR 2-star looked better. Another card that I thought kind of looks a little similar to the rare alt art and the leader card is the leader card. So I pulled up the leader card and the rare alt, and 30% said that the leader looked better versus rare was 70%. So a lot of people really do like that rare alt art. Once again, the votes was 27 versus 62 votes. So 100 votes in the first like hour, maybe two. They said that the rare alt art look a lot better than even the leader card. Now, I didn't do a poll for all the other cards. I just kind of wanted to get a feel versus that 2-star and versus that rare alt art, because it does really show Majin Vegeta, you know, by himself. He's not accompanied by any other character. I just wanted to see what the community was going to say about both designs. And it does look like a lot of people really do like that rare alt art, including myself. But here's what's interesting. So let's go ahead and read in some of these comments. By the way, I do know a couple of these people. It's just so funny. But let's go ahead and go through all of them here. This person right here, Trip T, I don't even know how to say that, but he says, damn, kind of underwhelming. And then I just pretty much said like, hey, let us know what you don't like and what you like about it, but they never responded. Another person, actually Prince Vegeta Collection, said, might have to sell half my collection to buy my boy Majin Vegeta. And then Joako Collect said, okay, I'm taking out a loan at this point. Don't do that. Don't do that, chat. Ollie said, this isn't very good. And then Peace Club Re said, need. And then here's some stories. Actually, I think she's also on YouTube. God is Rare. She said, I've been waiting too long for the SCR 2-star with Vegeta dancing on the top of the image there. We have Kaz Collectibles actually said something interesting here. He said, remember, SB01 was ripped into oblivion, which is why it is so expensive now. ST01's price point will drive most to keep it sealed, meaning there will be a huge supply at a price point your average collector simply can't afford. Not many will be ripping one box, let alone half a case worth. So ask yourself, is it reasonable to overlay 4 times the MSRP for a product that will be out the gate heavily kept sealed? I don't know, but we'll venture to say it will not be a 2K box next year. Also, a lot of folks are divided on the art in this set, and yes, they are divided. I do agree there. We do, Kaz. But thanks for attending my TED Talk. I don't know. He just said something there. Just something about booster boxes and people like just buying cases and they're just not ripping. Of course, that kind of opens up a whole new kind of worms in my video. But if you guys are wanting to discuss that in the comments, let me know and we can dive into that. So here's another one. from collecting underscore. He made an interesting discovery here about the angle of the face of Vegeta and then where the bicep actually lies on the image. So the bicep is kind of like to the side and the tricep is kind of like there. He said, almost a perfect card for me, but this bicep not aligning with his hand and the head is angled very far left in position to the torso. I can never look both just because it's the best Vegeta card I've seen in Fusion World. As an artist, I will still not unsee it. The other ST01 2-star, I have no interest in, which is the 2-star Vegito. But actually, there was some other guy, I can't remember his name, but I was saying maybe his bicep or Vegeta's bicep is going on one side because his tricep gains are way too big. We have Kush here and Kilos. He said ST01 got me fucked up. I can't believe this shit. I'm actually stunned. He said arguably the best modern Vegito card. Argue with the fucking wall. Even though Vegito's still lame. So I always make this I also make this joke about how people who are Gogeta fans shouldn't be buying this box because it is a Vegito box. It's not a Gogeta box. So stay away. Pedro here, which is actually one of my friends here. He was so funny, dude. So he said, absolutely dog shit. You telling me this is the best artist that Bandai can do? Some 5th graders in art class drew this up. I know it. Vendors will say best card ever, knowing they got cases on the way and the rent is past due. And also, he said, man, stop sucking the sack on this garbage. Oh my god. My response to him was like, dude, go back to Union Arena. Leave me alone. So here's a comment by the junk drawer .ttv. He said, I do agree. This set, it looks really nice. It's a very well-rounded set for collectors all the way around. The multi-chase sets inside this one collector set is really cool. And he said that his rating for the set is 8 out of 10. So some of the things that I feel like a lot of the Dragon Ball community is like pretty divided right now because of the art and what they chose for this set. So let's talk a little bit about that Cel Animation Art, the one that people are calling like the crayon or whatever, the rainbow card colors, which is technically the rendering of the animation, kind of like the drafts before it goes into the final stages or before they start coloring into the animation. And some people understand the meaning of the Cel Animation Art. So a lot of people are really just banking on this art. So this is what they're saying, that this is one of the very first times that Dragon Ball has done it. They have done it in Fusion World. And people are starting to say that ST01 is going to be better than the manga boosters. That is up for interpretation. I don't know about all that, but everybody's going to have their own opinions about that. So here is some of the solo Majin Vegeta cards. As you can see, there is the SCR 2-star, the SCR 1-star, the secret rare card. There's also the leader card in the leader alt art. And by the way, I just learned that the leader card, both sides of the leader alt art are shiny. So it does have foil on the other side, which usually it didn't used to have it. Now, by the way, Masters does have leader back cards or leader cards that are shiny on both sides, but this is the first time that Fusion World is now doing shiny or foil on both sides of the card for the leader card. So I thought that was interesting seeing that. There's also another card. It's another rare alt art card where it's Majin Vegeta and Goku is in the background. I thought that was actually a really nice one. So for me personally, these are going to be some of my chases. And then we have the visual art card, which is this one that says Vegeta. It's not the Majin Vegeta, but it has Vegeta on it. There might be a few other cards that I might have not mentioned. There is another Cel Animation Art card. It's called Goku and Vegeta, and they're trying to fuse. They have the Patara earrings on, or they're trying to put them on. But that one's the SR Alt Art. But yeah, there's some really nice cards here. Even the regular SR or the non-alt is gonna have gold stamps on it, just like the manga booster card. It has the nice nice gold stamp all around. So here is my thoughts about this 2-star Majin Vegeta. The text doesn't cover up any face on the card, which is a win for me, because there's one thing that I cannot take is all that text. And I know a lot of people have this problem with like masters, and a lot of times that text really gets all the way up to the neck, like the character can't even breathe. It looks like they're drowning in text. I feel like they have been doing that a lot. Even on FB09 there was a lot of text on those 2 stars. But anyways, I do like the fact that instead of straight lines, they did this like lightning all around and kind of broke it into like all these different little windows where you see Super Saiyan Vegeta. You got the fight versus Goku. You can see Vegeta there in the background with his old armor suit. And you have Vegeta again, but in Planet Namek, right on the far left. You see Vegeta there in Planet Namek right before he actually changes into that suit from Frieza's spaceship. So he has his old suit there and his scouter. And then you can see Vegeta right in the middle there against Cell. And then you have Majin Vegeta at the very top. I believe that's where he's about to fight Goku. So that's a really nice type of frames here. So it's different. I feel like Bandai gave us something a little bit different than before, like just a character just kind of standing there and or just kind of doing like a blast or something, like, you know, that UI Goku for the FB10 Vegito Super Saiyan Blue, just kind of the same like FB09 like Gogeta, same pose and everything. I don't know. I feel like at some point, and of course we already know that Bandai is always going to just be using the same art, is the same reuse art. It just interpret it in different ways. But I feel like for the first time Bandai has actually given us something different, because, you know, at this point it is kind of like an all forms, right? Like it's like an all forms Broly card. A lot of people really love that card, especially Broly fans. It is actually one of the nicest, I would say, Broly, like for you Broly fans, you guys made out on that card. I know they made a all forms Cell, but it was just like I believe that one was a 1-star from the last set. But there's actually a lot of pretty decent 2 stars. But I will say that this one is just different. I do like that they added the scenes. I've actually talked about in one of my other videos about like that manga, or not the manga vibe, but like that SIR, like that Pokemon vibe stuff. And sometimes they always put this like fancy background, almost looks like AI, but this one's straight from the animation or from the anime. So I love that they actually left the blue skies, and you can tell that's Planet Namek, and that's, you know, Earth. And you know, you can tell that there's a little bit of background in some of these frames, and I like that. That's pretty cool. It's just straight from the animation, not the manga, the animation. But I do like that they added those scenes in this whole card. Now, here's what I think they went wrong with this. So I think that because there's so many scenes here, it kind of drowned out that character, the Majin Vegeta on the right. I feel like it didn't really give it that nice space to breathe or do that transition between all the characters and then him, or all the transformations and then him. They try to place this like lightning all the way across in the middle of the image, but I feel like that wasn't enough. I feel like what they should have done, and I actually have asked in the community, like, I think, and this is where I think they were just one decision away from making this card 10 times better. Now, I said that they should have made like a black and white background, but then people were telling me like, oh, well, you know, that's manga. They would never do that. You know, this is the animation, right, from the anime, not the manga. So they would never do the black and white. I personally disagree with that, because even if it's in black and white, Dragon Ball has always kind of muted stuff in the background anyways. And And if the choice was to be black and white from the animation, then that's what it is. It doesn't automatically mean is manga. But I guess I can see like how people would feel like confused that this is the manga, right? Like, oh, that's a manga card, but that's not what it is. Remember, this is a story booster, right? It's the story booster, not the manga booster. It's the story booster from the anime. However, it didn't stop Bandai from making this muted image right here, the rare alt art that we talked about in the background. This is not a manga card. This is from the animation, and you can see that Majin Vegeta is muted in the back. So I feel like, if anything, it didn't really necessarily, maybe they wouldn't have gotten away with it being black and white, but maybe giving it like that tone, like they kind of did it with UI Goku on FBO4, the 2-star. I didn't really like that card, I will say that. However, I feel like they could have done like some type of hologram where like Majin Vegeta is still visible on the right side of the card, but when you move the card, you can see all these different scenes, like they almost pop out at you, but in color. I just wanted to give a shout out to Arcane Grove Collectibles for DMing me, and he had this theory that these 2-star cards might possibly be a puzzle piece. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these two images together, right? And I did. Of course, they don't match, but if you guys notice, in the story booster there is 3 sets. The first set, they picked Majin Vegeta and Vegito. Someone said, oh, why didn't they pick Majin Buu? I don't know, maybe they'll surprise us later. But the third saga is naturally gonna be most likely the Cell saga. So they picked Vegito and Majin Vegeta for the first story booster for the first 2 stars. Then on the story booster 2, they're most likely gonna have Planet Namek Goku, just like they did on that I believe that SB01 2-star. So it's gonna be Planet Namek Goku as a 2-star in story booster 2 final transformation, and then you will see on story booster 3 most likely will be Teen Gohan, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, and Cell or Perfect Cell will be the two stars for story booster 3. What they'll do is they'll do 6 puzzle pieces, right? And what they're gonna do is they're not gonna let us see the last 2 puzzle pieces that go along with the first 2 and even the second set on story booster 2 to see that it all goes together. I think that's why they gave us 2 random characters. And who knows, guys, maybe they'll give us 3 stars in the last set. I don't know. Maybe they will just randomly add Boo or something, because Fusion World has been notorious for giving us a random character out of theme from the set. For example, in FBO 5, I thought the 2-star would be a Super Saiyan 4 Daima Goku, right? Because it was a Daima box, but they gave us Super Saiyan Goku 2-star and a Frieza 2-star in an FBO 5 or adventure box, and the theme didn't even go with what the final product was. In Story Booster 3, they might just give us Teen Gohan and Cell as 2 stars. But what if they don't do that? What if they give us that boot card that we are missing on Story Booster 1? I mean, they've done it many times in other sets where the theme doesn't go with the 2-star. Now, I posted a video about that whole puzzle piece theory, and this is some of the feedback that people gave me on that theory. So people said, so Big Germ Texas 91 said, gave me goosebumps when you said puzzle. Dragon Ball Z Score TCG had inserts to make a 9-piece Vegito card as well as other big cards in those sets, and that's true. And he said this will be sick. And then DB Martin 90 said, makes sense, the image of the ST01 to ST03 are all connecting. Oh, and also it does look like a puzzle. wait, hold on. ST01, ST02, and ST03, right? Story boosters. It does kind of look like a puzzle. Message. Poke Collect Vault said, damn, that's pretty interesting story. Gonna be fire. Kush and Kilo said, fake news. Dark Collect said, love this. JV8310 said, Kaio does it for the Naruto cards, and this will be interesting if Bandai does it for Dragon Ball. And then King of Glow said, interesting. T4EZ, he said, yeah, I noticed this too. From the color tones and the way they cut the edges, it definitely looks like they can be put together to form a puzzle. And then Beyond Pops 3000 said, I just want to rip one pack. In which, by the way, their GameStop is starting to have some pre-order sales or whatever for $20 a pop. It's crazy, guys. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you what you guys should do, but I don't think we should be supporting that. That's pretty crazy to be charging $20 off of a blister pack, and it hasn't even released yet. So I thought that was pretty crazy. But that was the feedback that the Dragon Ball card community had for the Majin Vegeta 2-star and the set itself, and also the puzzle piece theory about this whole thing. But who knows, guys? I mean, anything can happen in Fusion World. But if you guys have been enjoying my videos, make sure to subscribe to my channel and make sure to hit that bell. Every time I launch a new video, you get notified. And also check out all the videos that I put up on the screen. Click on one of those. It helps me out a lot. Thank you guys so much all for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.